Okay, today's video is a true crime video. It's actually based on a real life story. So I'm going to be talking about the film Changeling, which stars Angelina Jolie and John Malkovich. So this film is based on a real life story of Christine Collins, who unfortunately lost her son. He went missing, and still missing. This is the mystery. He's either still missing or he's been murdered by Gordon Stewart Northcott, who was famous for the Wineville chicken coop murders in Los Angeles in 1928. So the story starts off with Christine Collins. She is a telephone operator. And I think she's a supervisor. So basically, she has to do some extra hours at work, which she tried to get out of because she promised her son that she was going to take him to the movies basically that night, but she couldn't get out of it, and she had to do these overtime. So this is a picture of the real Christine Collins. Anyway, so basically, she goes to work. She comes home after missing. She's a bit late because she misses a tram. Because her boss wanted to talk to her, and she was trying to get away, but she couldn't get away because he just kept engaging her in conversation. And she missed her tram to go home. She basically told her son before she went to work that the neighbour was going to come and check them every couple of hours. And she's left some food in the fridge for him. You know, if he gets hungry or gets thirsty. So when she gets home, he is actually missing. He's not at home, and he doesn't like the dark. So she just thinks this is really strange. He wouldn't go outside because he doesn't like the dark, and it was just getting dark. So she asks everyone, in the neighbourhood, have they seen Walter? No one's seen him. So she contacts the police, and this, to begin with, feels like it's falling on deaf ears. Like, this is one of the police people that she actually speaks to. And first of all, she feels like she's not getting listened to. And then all of a sudden, they say they found her son. So she goes to the train station with the police, the press. And when the boy comes off the train, she knows instantly he's not her son. He doesn't look nothing like her son. And she basically tells the police, this guy that, in the picture, that it's not her son. And he basically just sits there and tries fobbing her off, saying that, it's been 5 months since your son's disappeared. He's obviously changed, and just take him home. So she has to have her picture taken with him, in front of the press. He tells her to hug the kid, because they've found her son Walter. When she gets home, she finds out that not only is he 4 inches shorter than her, but he's also circumcised, and there's other stuff that's not right, that proves that he is not her son. When she tells the police this, the police are like, well, he was missing for 5 months. Who knows what his captor did to him, and then they could try and get this specialist in, to say, oh yes, if kids go through grief or something, they shrink basically, and she's not having any of it. She gets in contact with someone from the church who actually does daily broadcasts with his church, and he is also trying to find her son, and expose the Los Angeles police for being corrupt, which they are in the film. She literally goes through hell with these guys. And this is a picture of the real Walter Collins. So she goes through nothing but hell with these guys, and it comes to a point that she has to get to a certain point where she involves the press. And she basically goes to her son's dentist, her son's school. They all confirm this is not her child, that the police have given it to her, and that they will swear it in court if they have to and do it in writing. The police don't like this, so they bring her in. And they basically get to confirm that she doesn't believe that that's her son, and that she's been lied to, basically been deceived. So their next move is they're going to chuck her in the psychiatric ward in Los Angeles, which they did in the film. Anyone who spoke up against the police, anyone who, badmouthed the police, especially to the press, was actually committed to the psych ward in Los Angeles. And then she finds out, like, later on, someone else finds out that her son was actually part of the was involved in the well, not involved, but he was one of the victims of the Gordon Stewart Northcott Wineville chicken coop murders. And this is a picture of the real Gordon Stewart Northcott. Now, I don't know if this is a picture of him during a court, but you could just tell he's just plain evil. I mean, who sits there and smiles and laughs in court, after killing about 19 children? That's just absolutely just horrendous. So he's eventually captured. Christine is released from the psych ward, and as she's coming out, she finds out that her son has been murdered via a paper boy shouted about it in the street, trying to sell his papers. She nearly faints, and the guy that's helping her from the church, he actually comes to her rescue. They get one of the top lawyers in Los Angeles who's actually fought the police 4 times and won. So he was like the best. And he heard about this story. He heard her story. He heard how long she's fought, how much the police, what they've done to her, how they've treated her. And so he was willing to do this, this fight for her, basically, support her, work for her for nothing. So she'd get her justice. What was owed to her, basically. Later on, you find out that one of the kids that was actually working alongside Gordon Stewart Northcott, he actually comes forward. So the guy on the left is Gordon Stewart Northcott. You could tell he's just fucking evil, and I hate him. And the other kid on the left is actually Sanford Clark, which I think is one of his relatives. So he was basically, these two were going around the streets of Los Angeles. They were going to different parts every time, picking up kids, boys that were, walking around, by themselves. They didn't have no one with them. They would make out that something had happened to their family. He'd have the kid in the car with him. So when they pick a kid up, when he'd say this other kid that they're picking up wouldn't feel scared because there was another kid in the car with him, to assure them that, he wasn't a stranger or whatever. So he would get about 4 or 5 of them, and this is in the film, he would get 4 or 5 of them, bring them to the chicken coop, and would just butcher them with an axe, and in the film, Sanford actually explains what happened, like there was 19 of them. But in the film at the end, you find out that 3 of them escaped. One of them comes forward after about 5 years of running away from the Wineville chicken coop, basically. So Walter Collins, you don't know if Walter Collins survived. That's the thing. But his mum's got at the end. So you don't know at the end of the film whether Walter is alive or he's one of those victims, because he was the kid that was come forward after 5 years literally said that Walter was the one who saved him because he was trying to get out of one of the chicken wires, and he literally lifted the fence up and got him out, and they all ran for it, into the sticks, basically. And he said that if Walter didn't come back, he would have died, basically. And so it leaves the film like that. You don't know if he survived. And there's never actually anything on the internet about whether he survived or if he's come back to her. But she never stopped looking for him. This is what happens this is what's said at the end of the film. She never stopped looking for her son. So that was just, yeah, a really good film. I love that film.